Imagine for a second that I said to you, I'm going to give you $157 million and I want you to leave. And the only obligation you have is just to never come back. Just go and don't return. How would this change your life? Where would you go and what would you do? It's a crazy thing to think about, right? Well, this isn't just a hypothetical story I'm telling you. This actually happened. This happened to a college student named Reggie Brown. Wait, what? You don't know who Reggie Brown is? Maybe I should tell you who he is. We're gonna do that right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So if you got a notification yesterday from the channel, you know that we're starting something called Community Picks, and I have an awesome subscriber named Brandon to thank for it. Thank you, Brandon. I'm gonna post on the community tab and ask you all to start submitting tickers, so make sure you turn on notifications. I'll pick one, do a full breakdown, and then give that subscriber a shout out in the next video. Okay, now back to our story. So in 2011, 3 Stanford University students created a web platform called Peekaboo, and it gained immediate attention. Reggie Brown, who's said to have come up with the original idea, he was ousted from the group, and this platform then became known as Snapchat, a social media platform where you can send messages and pictures that disappear shortly after being viewed. As part of a settlement, Reggie was paid $157 million to walk away, and Snapchat has grown into what it is today. So the question is, what is Reggie Brown doing now? Okay, so my first selection for Community Picks is Snapchat, and this was submitted by Jonathan Palmer. He did an amazing job of providing the 3 criteria, I'm going to put it up on the screen now, that I'm looking for in order to be eligible to be selected. So number 1, you need to have the ticker or the name of the company. Number 2, you need to have the reason why you're following it. Not why anyone else is talking about it, but why you, specifically you, why you're following it. And then I also want to know, what sector is this stock in? Now, one thing I posted on the community page was I don't want to do stocks under $10, and I just want to clarify on that. I had a subscriber comment in and ask why, and my reason for that is I don't want to get into penny stocks, small cap, micro cap stocks, because the chart patterns and the technical analysis just don't seem to be as effective with the smaller stocks with a low, small cap. So let's just stick to $10 and above, nothing small cap. Let's go mid cap and above, and we'll see how it goes. So today we're breaking down Snapchat. Now, Snap Inc. is technically known as a camera company, and their flagship product is Snapchat, a camera application that helps people communicate through short video and images known as snaps. They also offer spectacles, which are sunglasses with an embedded camera for creating snaps. Now, one popular feature of Snapchat is the ability to apply many different filters to your photos or videos to fully express emotion of you, the creator of that picture or video. Now, on the fundamental side, Snap Inc. has absolutely zero on the balance sheet in terms of debt, and they're currently holding about $387 million in cash, which is fantastic. While their net income increased significantly from 2017 to 2018, they are still not a profitable company, showing a loss of about $1.25 billion in 2018. Now, their price to sales is 13.25 times, while industry rivals are kind of in the neighborhood of about 7.25 times. And all this means is that the stock is higher priced based upon its sales when compared to its competitors. Now, total revenue was up 43% year over year from 2017 to 2018. However, their operating expenses are slightly more than double the value of their total revenue. So that could be an issue. Now, there are 2 issues I've found that have an impact on their profitability. So number 1, advertisers are having a tough time with the fact that a snap disappears. And with that, the ad that may have been included with that snap also disappears. So the content creator has to keep coming up with content in order for the ads to be placed and replaced. Unlike other social platforms where photos and videos stay put, as do the ads on these posts where they can continue generating income. Now, number 2, Snapchat doesn't provide detailed analytics to advertisers so they can craft ads that are most effective. They do offer a third-party analytics platform or software, but these only show basic metrics. Now, they're focusing on more targeted ads in order to increase the effectiveness and overall generate more revenue. And in addition to this, they just released Snap Gaming in April, but numbers are not out yet on how this is impacting their overall revenue. Now, outside of this, I'm having a tough time finding any other plans for additional revenue generation that's outside of what Snap Inc. is already doing. They did have an offer from Facebook back in 2013 to acquire them for $3 billion, and they passed. Now, this would have been the ultimate solution for the cash flow problems. So with the fundamentals out of the way, let's get technical and jump over into the charts. Okay, we've got Snapchat right here up on the daily chart. And I guess the first thing I want to do is just take a peek at the weekly chart and let's see what it's doing. Now you can see we IPO'd on Snapchat back in February of 2017. And since then we've shown a downtrend with a bottom right around 482. And then we've been working our way back to the upside. Now, the encouraging thing on the weekly chart is that we are back above the 50 simple moving average, which is great. Now we've recently had a pullback under the 20 simple moving average, which is this blue line, but this could just be a temporary pullback looking to go higher. So weekly chart, less informative because we don't have as much time because the history is limited by the IPO date being back in 2017. So let's jump to the daily chart. Now, looking at the daily chart, this is really interesting. So we can see that low of 42. And we broke back above, and what is this significant line, this green line? That's our 200 simple moving average. Super important on every trader's chart, and it's very informative as far as what trend, which direction we're moving. So I like that we're angling up on the 200 simple moving average. I like that we've been touching and moving off the 50 simple moving average until recently. And if I zoom in, we can see, if you watch my other videos, I'll post that above. Now you can go ahead and click this card up here and watch this video on how I pick stocks if you want more information about what I'm about to discuss concerning the MACD. So you can see as this is pushed down, we've got this expansion on the MACD to the downside, and this was pointed out by Jonathan, and I appreciate that. That was really great homework you did on selecting Snap. We had the push to the downside. So expansion away from the mean, which is this line. Now we're starting to get some reversion back to the mean, and typically after reversion might come a little bit of upside expansion. So this is a nice spot in price action, which right now we're in the 1350 area, and volume is also looking consistent. No spikes, but just consistent. And we have earnings coming up right here on 10/22. So if I zoom out, I'm just going to look for some big time support and resistance levels. And one thing I see right off the bat, and this is kind of interesting, is if I look at this swell, this push up with all this time spent back here in July of 18, if I draw a line right in here, right on top of that, look where we go, right where we are now. So this is really, really interesting because the history of this line is that it was a major overhead resistance and ultimately rejected the price action of Snapchat and pushed it all the way back down. Now, as it came down, it rebounded, worked its way back up, and then blew through our line, tested it a few times, and then left. So now it was considered support. Then we've returned back to it. How strong is it going to be? Tough to say. It has some history. Typically, the more touches a line has or the more history a line has, the stronger it is. But it is dipping just below it. So this could be a great spot for picking up and nibbling some shares on Snap. My only concern is that they aren't profitable yet, which is fine. It could be more of a speculative play. Their gaming platform that they've come out with, Snap Gaming, doesn't have any numbers to report yet, so we don't know how that's going to affect their overall revenue and bottom line. I love that they don't have debt, so that's fantastic. That makes me feel good about them being able to operate in lean times as they are. And with earnings coming up, I think I personally, and again, don't trade based off my opinions, just use this breakdown as additional information in making your decisions. Always be comfortable after doing your own due diligence. Now, I'm personally going to wait until after earnings. I want to see what's going to happen. But if you're kind of a more risk tolerant type who wants to play the earnings and you think, I think Snap Gaming is going to show more revenue, I think we're going to beat estimates, I think we're going to go higher, then by all means, you would want to jump in before the 22nd of October. But I'm going to wait and see what happens. And if we get that jump up, then we know things are looking better. I'll wait for a pullback and then maybe nibble some shares. But this company, I'm having trouble finding out where they're going to generate revenue from. And anytime a company has operating costs that are double what their revenue is, that makes it really tough to look down the road. I typically like to sell puts on stocks and nibble shares on stocks that have great balance sheets. We all know that. I really enjoy that. But I want to be able to look long term on them and say, yeah, I see them being around and I see profitability coming. I understand what they do. I see where they're going. With Snapchat, I understand what they do. I like that the price has pulled way back. It's $13.50, so it's good for all different budgets when you're shopping for a stock. But the part I'm having trouble with is just looking long-term on Snapchat. Will Snapchat be around for a long time, or will Snapchat be bought up by someone? Will Facebook gobble them up? I don't know. If Facebook did, that would likely send Snapchat much higher. That would be a good thing for anyone who owns Snapchat. And I almost feel like that's inevitable for them if they continue with their current revenue issues. If they can't become profitable, I just feel like their days are numbered in terms of how long that they can last. So I'll be interested to see what they do. I want to see the earnings. I want to see the numbers on Snap Gaming. I feel like that's what I'm really hyper focused on. If Snap Gaming has been profitable and has boosted their bottom line, they're going to get a bump after earnings. And in my opinion, then I think it would be a buy for me. Now do your own due diligence and figure out what you like and what would make you a buyer. But for me personally, seeing a big bump on the bottom line with the Snap Gaming could be a big thing because they can have the gaming platform but also have advertising around that gaming platform, and that would help limp them away from advertisements that are disappearing with their ephemeral content that they put out. So let's watch it really close. I really appreciate this recommendation from Jonathan, and I'm very excited to see where Community Picks goes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to post on the Community tab again, and I'm going to say, okay, it's time, start submitting your tickers, and then I'm going to go through and pick one, and we're going to repeat this process. I'll fully break down the stock, I'll give a shout out, we can talk about it, and then we can go on to the next stock. So thank you for being part of Community Picks number 1. Thank you, Jonathan, and we'll see you tomorrow.